So yeah, first question really was about your introduction into engineering. Where did you start?
Well, actually, I started recording bands in schools and colleges, and we had agents that went out in the field and recorded them, and they came to me to master. And then I ended up doing the same thing. Quit mastering and went out in the field to record, and then basically got into the big time with RCA Records back in 65.
Was that in California?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. And you've been here working ever since?
Well, I stayed with them for quite a while, but that's my main introduction into the professional field.
And who was your first, we were talking about earlier, but your first really kind of memorable artist or known, the big artist you first worked or project you
Creedence Clearwater Revival, Jackson 5, Jose Feliciano, those are kind of the initial big acts that I got to deal with. In fact, the very first 5, 6, 7 singles of the Jackson 5 was basically where I started with known artists.
Did your career first, did you kind of have a goal of where you wanted to go, or did you just follow the path that naturally?
Just followed the whatever came.
Yeah. And do you still do that today, do you think?
Basically, yeah. Wherever the industry dares take us, we follow.
Yeah. And can I ask you about your equipment? I mean, is it inherited? Did you purchase it? Is it a combination?
It's pretty much all custom, proprietary stuff. Hand-built EQ.
Can you talk us through it?
Ranging from pretty much every frequency you can think of. All hand-built. There are API knobs if they look familiar, but it's all discreet and state-of-the-art.
When you say custom built, can I ask who? Or?
What part?
Oh, sorry?
What'd you say?
Can I ask who? You say custom built, as in?
Custom built, yeah. As in-house.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting. That's what I was going to. Technically, do you keep secrets, or do you like techniques that you've learned along the way, or are you happy to share snippets?
Basically, they're kind of secret, but essentially, I personally go for when you put up a song, the very first thing that comes to your mind, what catches your attention is usually the first thing you have to deal with. If it's too much bass or not enough bass or screeching highs, that's initially my approach. And then on, it's top secret.
Okay. You've worked quite a lot with Dr. Dre and the West Coast hip hop scene. What was the first introduction to that? Who was the first to the whole hip hop thing?
Wow, that goes way back. Well, it's the NWA experience. They all piled into the room. This is the Straight Outta Compton album, and I had no idea what was going to happen. In fact, I was surprised that they were going to even try and get away with this. I questioned them on it even. But that was the beginning.
And am I right in saying you've worked with pretty much most of Dre's projects to date?
Yeah, pretty much.
And you mentioned about Michael Jackson's as well, and his career.
Well, as far as Michael, yeah. After doing the Jackson 5 singles, progressed to when he went solo. Of course, he did all the singles and the 12-inch all the way through most of his career. Of course, Bernie did the albums. It's a productive formula.
Can I ask, I mean, it might be a personal question that you may not be able to answer in a way. Do you have a favourite album that you've worked on?
Wow, that's too difficult.
Yeah.
There were so many. When people even ask who's my favorite artist, I have to think.
How much do you guys, outside from work, do you listen to lots of music? Do you go to lots of shows and gigs?
It depends on the mood. Being a mastering engineer, you have to pretty much enjoy all genres, which I do. And when I have a rough day, I will sometimes listen to ambient kind of soothing stuff just to calm me down, mainly to battle the commute. But it depends on my mood, what I listen to.
So some producers or people that work in music that I know will just not listen to music and just have completely quiet time.
There are definitely days where I don't want to hear any music. So that's how I unwind, just distract myself, the kids or whatever.
What does your daily kind of working day look like? Is it a long day? Is it
well,
per project?
The nature of this business, it's all over the place. We can have a very intense day with 2 or 3 albums in one day, which can be intense. It can be light. It's just the way this industry is changing. There's no set pattern.
So you think the industry's changing? Is it changing for the best or the worse? What's your...
It depends. I would probably say the worst.
Yeah.
Just all the change of the buying an album, for instance, going home and sitting down, reading the jacket, the liner notes, all that kind of stuff. That's all changed. No longer, less emphasis on making an album, making singles now, and the internet's played a big part of it. So that's just all part of the change.
So I guess it opens up a lot for DIY projects, but it can lose its longevity. A lot of albums and singles are here today, gone tomorrow.
Right.
So they're never before.
And there just seems to be less emphasis on the album. It's always enjoyable when something comes in that is put together in album form and they actually put out a CD. That's encouraging. And to hear more bands today that are real bands, real music, it seems to be coming back, which is encouraging.
So yeah, you were saying about the most intimidating artists you worked with.
No, I was just thinking, people have asked me what have been one of the more memorable experiences in working with artists, and I would say 2 of the most intimidating were George Harrison and, of course, George Martin. Working with those 2 guys, it's like just kind of in awe. And it was an experience. Briefly with George Martin, he wasn't working with the Beatles at the time. I can't remember who the artist, Kenny Rogers, I think. But George, I worked on a few of his projects. Fascinating.
You're saying about one about the NWA, well, actually one was the Masters, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, the plaques I received from Cloud9, George had personally signed. And I had 2 of them, and I thought, well, I might as well share one with the world. And I put it on eBay, and didn't quite feel right about it, but I just wanted to see what would happen. I think I put it up for 30 grand or something. And it started going up. It went up to 7,000 to 10,000 or something. And I just said I can't. So I pulled it off market. I still have it. I'm not going to sell it. I don't know what I was thinking. It was just curiosity, I guess. Somewhere, possibly on the premises or in my storage unit, I have a reference disc that when I was working with NWA on the Straight Outta Compton album, all the guys were passing the jacket around, which was a plain white jacket, and they were doodling, signing, and making little cartoon characters. And it was awesome. And somewhere, I might dig it up and put it on eBay. I don't know, but it's got to be a real collector's item if I ever find it.
Going back to hip hop again, with some of the albums that you worked on, can you name a few? I mean, but just for an audience.
Well, it seemed that after the Straight Outta Compton thing hit big time, I was just flooded with the hip hop thing. And I remember, for instance, all the Tupac things I did. You could just feel it. You could feel the magic in that stuff. It was going to be big. So Many Tears, I forget the album now. Dear Mama, I think they were both on the same album. Just incredible vibe going on. And I was by myself in the room at that time, and you could just feel the sparks on the wall. Something was big. And they were huge albums. And the list goes on how many I've worked with. I just blank when people ask.
And I guess today, you're not needing to pitch for business. People come to you. all the time.
Yeah, I mean we've got plenty of work, believe me.
Yeah.
But of course, all the offsprings from NWA, Ice Cube, and all that, they went independent. That of course stirred a lot of work. Yeah,
I can't remember, was that his first album?
I had to excuse that when it's behind the lamp when he came in, but it's all right. Unfortunately, the industry, most of the major labels have stopped giving plaques out just by the nature of the change we've all gone through. So it's kind of stopped. For the last 10 years, I think I'm doing tons of plaques. And I'm understanding I'm going to have to buy them if I want them, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, there's a guy.
I might for some of the biggies. Configuration, we can swap the heads around and make it 1/2 inch. And then we have a 1-inch deck, and that's needed. Now, all these toys here I'm not necessarily using, I just have them in there. At one period I remember using the L2 and the Fatso and all that, but I haven't used them in a while.
Wow. So any last words that you want to kind of say before
May the real music continue and grow again. Bring back the album concepts, and not just single sales, but album sales. And the fans out there should support their favorite artists and buy their album. Buy it twice.